we will go deep into the realm of the unknown and question everything as we search for the truth. We will explore the possibility of countless phenomena within the ultra spectrum, and together we will learn that it is all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and it is a live stream broadcast. If you have a question, send me a super chat or become a YouTube member. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association. Take a seat, relax, get ready, and welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat. Today is Thursday, November 17th, 2022, and I, Ryan Stacey, am your host this evening. I'm a licensed private investigator, a citizen journalist, and the Director of Investigations for the Experiencer Support Association. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining us this evening. Special thanks to all our YouTube members who help us keep this program and others free for our experiencers. Remember that as a member, you get to ask your questions live here tonight. For all you non-members, you can super chat or send a tip on Rockfin to ask your questions to our guests live. And remember that every little bit helps. At the 2-hour mark, Cece and I will have our after chat, so stick around and we'll keep the conversation going and chat with everyone in the live chat. We will discuss what we thought about the episode, and we'll talk about what's coming we'll share some recent news with Tessa on what's coming next week. Today's guest is an Arcturian healer, intergalactic channeler, and author. Our guest for Season 4, Episode 35, is Viviane Chauvet. I hope I said that right. Viviane is an Advanced Arcturian Hybrid Avatar, published author, international public speaker, creator of the Arcturian Energy Matrix Healing, Multidimensional Way of Healing for Conscious Evolution, advocate for planetary ascension, and owner for Infinite Healing from the Stars LLC. She serves as an emissary and multidimensional conduit for cooperation of Star Delegations, including the Lyrans, Sirians, Andromedans, and other interstellar groups. Viviane is also an emissary and ambassador for the galacticalliance.org. Viviane is the producer and co-host of the Infinite Star Connections podcast. She was the hybrid consultant on J3 Films documentary Extraordinary: The Seeding, and featured in a multi-award-winning documentary Extraordinary: The Revelations. Viviane's collaborative #1 best-selling book series, Wisdom of Silver Sisters, Guidance, Grace, and Golden Wisdom of Love, Legends and Legacy, it can be found on Amazon. Viviane is a well-known speaker at the Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo, New Living Expo, Sedona Ascension Conference Retreats, Hidden Secrets Revealed Cruise, Mount Shasta Summer Conference, and much more. She offers workshops and meditation series on her YouTube and the Conscious Awakening Network, also known as CAN. And the websites for that are inside the description below. So, hey, Viviane, put on your tinfoil hat. We're about to go down a rabbit hole. How are you doing?
I'm ready. I'm doing well. Thank you, Ryan, for having me tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Cece, for setting this up. Okay, so the first question that we asked in this show is an icebreaker that's brought to us by Cece, who runs her Experiencers Anonymous group. So I'm just going to play our little jingle, and then I'll ask that question, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Where's my jingle at? Where is it? Right here. All right. So Cece asks, give your best impression of an extraterrestrial attempting to explain the human race of Earth.
I love that.
That's a good question, Cece.
It is a great question. So if I understand correctly, I have to explain human race to extraterrestrial. Is that the question?
How would an extraterrestrial explain to, I guess, someone else what the human race is?
Well,
how would they describe us?
I would say an entire civilization in the midst of the most important return or ascension, a most important point of their history. It's a civilization has been manipulated so much that they finally wakening up to their own true nature. And Earth human beings have such power within themselves, the capacity for love, the capacity for compassion. And I would say, it's definitely a civilization in the midst of their rising in their power, and we have to keep a close eye on them because we want to welcome them to the community of light. And that's pretty much how we see you anyway from our delegation. So it's beautiful.
That is beautiful. I don't know. I don't know what I would say. I don't know. That's good. I hope that's the way that it is. That's nice. Okay. So the second question that I always ask is, why are you the way that you are? And what I mean by that, this the extensive bio and all these credentials, and you have a history of stuff within this phenomenon. I want to know how you got started in that, and start as far back as you want to go, and then walk me through to this moment, and then we'll go from there.
Beautiful. Let's go on a journey together. Is how am I sitting here tonight with all of you? I will have to go back, way back, even before this incarnation. So this project took place many generations ago, where I was still in my complete Arcturian self. And as the Arcturians, as a very advanced and enlightened intergalactic groups, we have the ability to monitor the timelines. We have the ability to perceive a multitude of possibilities or possible paradigm of reality unfolding all at once. And we look at the most probability ones, the one that will come into pass. So it came to a point where we realized that the Earth within this quadrant that you know as your solar system was going to becoming most likely in alignment with their ascension process. And so that's very much where it started, really, the story, the journey of me coming back onto the earth. So I consulted with our Council of High Priestess, our Council of Elders, and we're looking at terms of how can we allow one of our own, an advanced being that cannot sustain or be living in the third density, how can we allow the complete aspect of that being be on a planet to bring direct assistance? So you have to imagine that the Arcturian, for example, are millions of years old. So let's just say that we have learned quite a bit from past history, and we have also developed quite a bit of organic conscious form of technology. And so the long story short, so to speak, is that over many generations of stabilizing very specific sequential DNA and genetic material, we created the perfect holographic template that will allow me to be here. So think of it as developing the latest technology that allows a human being to live in the depth of the ocean and create a city there. It will take a lot of time to build and adapt the technology that will respond to the environment, right? If you were to live underneath the ocean and be able to live in that pressure aspect of what the ocean is about. Well, it's something very similar for me. So we have to come with the perfect vessel that will allow my consciousness to be inside of it and being able to functioning and being able to be one of you, functioning, living, speaking, breathing like an earth human, so I can be boots on the ground and being able to at the same time remain in that pure state of complete conduit aspect and allowing so many high frequencies and transmission of codes and information on a day-to-day basis to relay back to our delegations, and then being able to do my work here on this earth. So my presence, the bottom line I'm making here, Ryan, is that to talk about my childhood would be just scratching the surface of a huge iceberg on the understanding that we talk about disclosure or making contact or, encounter of the fifth kind. My presence on the planet redefine all of this because it's allowing other beings, whether they're star seeds or, like in my case, I'm a Arcturian being in a holographic form, to redefine our interconnection with each other, to be able to bring very specific frequencies of light and support an entire planet in the midst of a reascension process and reactivating the sacred original matrix of life in the same time. So it's a really huge endeavor for a civilization like my Arcturian group to achieve such level. And I am part of a very large delegations because we are working very closely in partnership with others, like the Andromedan. We work very closely with them. We work with other groups like the Antares that primarily stayed on the 7th dimension. And we work with a lot of groups. So my presence here is not just, which is already huge, to help to reassure that the ascension is really much on its way, to stabilize the future timeline, to being able to bring in the next level of DNA and the true template and so forth. But at the same time, Ryan, it also allows, other delegation, other group, whether it's Star Regency Council, whether it's different, council delegations, to be able to work with the Earth, with Earth humans, with star seeds, with the masters who have come here, and being able to assist also other own worlds who are going through very similar evolutionary process as the Earth is going. So my functions are really multidimensional because I'm assisting other own world at the same time as I am here on a day-to-day. So, but how did I know that who I am and as I am today, even as a child? Even as a child, I remember 4 or 5 years old, already living in a sense of a group community. I've already knew that I was part of a very large group. I could hear them talking to me. It was always this beautiful holographic telepathic communication. It's a transmission of light, what they were transmitting through me, helped me to understand. And even though I was living in this world, I was in parallel to this world because of my nature, because of who I am, helping you to remembering that I am an Arcturian being, that I'm part of their groups. And I chose this very highly important mission. And so I start to having recollection of who I am and start to reintegrate aspect of my Arcturian avatar self and being able to, go to the ship, being able to have some reprieve, being able to be with my people, regenerate my form, come back to the planet and I feel like I was having a parallel life to the one that I was supposed to be, that like my name, Viviane, this is my Earth name. And people know me by that name. This is the identity, the persona that we have built for me to be here. So my journey is complex because unlike, what we used to hear with star seeds or my mother was pregnant with me, she got visitation, she went on board, they added genetic material, or later on, my reality around the UFO reality, it's a little bit different. I'm kind of in between categories because I'm not a contactee, I'm not an experiencer, I'm an Arcturian being in this form. So I'm redefining what those reality of making contact, conscious connections are really about. So this is, in a very short summary, just a snippet of how did I came about. Did that make sense?
It does. And I've been making a lot of notes, so because I got some follow-up. So I'll preface here, and I didn't tell you this at the beginning. I come into these podcasts dry. I don't know anything until I read the bio, and then I read into it. So not knowing that I was going to have this type of conversation with an actual being, I do have questions. So because what I try to do is I'm trying to help understand how other people are able to connect through consciousness and all this other stuff to other beings that could be connected with yourself as well through the same ways. So I guess it's an investigative point of view in terms of questions to try to understand how it really works, in case others like you are out there and they don't realize it. So the first thing that came into mind, and the question I'm looking at too, is if it started back when you're as a child, 4 to 5 years old. The question that popped in my mind is when the being was created in this place, and then the Arcturians made a decision to use the body that you're in as a host, right?
No,
Or how did
not at
that
all.
happen? As you were just born as an Arcturian into this? Like, I'm trying to understand how the physical being that I'm looking at right now was brought into this earth as you are, or did a transition happen somewhere in your life between what I would be and then versus being activated? Does that make sense? Am I explaining that?
No, because this is none of the above. So I'm
Okay.
going to have to and I understand this is exactly why that we are really beyond, I'm really beyond
Okay.
any form of categories. This
Okay.
is why I didn't start as what I was a child or how I grew up here. I started when you asked me, how do you came about? And I
Right.
said, we have to start where I was
Okay.
back in our realm as an Arcturian being, and
Okay.
we looked at the timeline of ascension.
Okay.
And instead of sending out a soul emanation of myself, like most starseed will do, they will send a soul emanation of themselves and will come into the embodiment of a physical vessel that was originally designed by two original human sparks. And then from there, when the mother is pregnant with the child, the soul come into embodiment, bring all the knowledge, the frequency, the very unique signature of that star group they represent.
Okay.
And thank God we have many of them. This is wonderful. Usually it can happen that the star family or the star group, in order to support that soul, may add some genetic material, DNA, or any other form of gentle manipulation to support the body. But it's still conceived out of two original human conceiving a child and then the soul come into it. This is not my case.
Okay.
Okay. So we have to also look in terms of also another phenomenal is that your physical senses are being redefined. This is no longer about what do I see physically in front of me, is what am I experiencing, who am I experiencing those energy with. So it's allowing yourself, all of us, to step into more a multidimensional sensory points. This is part of the evolution coming through on the planet as well. We're shifting out of 3D linear with palpable, touchable, researchable, and moving into to feel like, oh, well, I am too an holographic multidimensional being of light, and this is true for everyone. So we taking that premise that is becoming much more appreciated and also recognized by people that they are multidimensional being of light and divine being of light. And what we say to you is that how I came about had nothing to do with the traditional way of how a soul is reincarnated on this earth. Is I chose to send a direct aspect of my Arcturian being avatar, and I wanted to be more, in a sense, physically have a presence on the planet, on the earth, so I can be here instead of remaining in my original form and having point of contact like contactees or experiences. Many people work with the Arcturians, many people work with the Lyrans or the Sirians. I want to be directly bringing a direct conduit that was genetically designed in very specific ways so that I can also be a pure transmitter, if you want, of frequency and codes that comes in and out of the planet, redirected to my delegations. And then from there, they bring in new codes and I transmit that back to the planet. You're not going to see that. It's not visible to the human eyes. It's beyond the visible light spectrum. Nonetheless, it's happening. And I have witnessed that many times. So how I came about had nothing to do when I was 4 or 5. I was just giving you a point of time of reference in this life. How it came about is that in order for me to coexist and be here physically on this earth, we have to create an advanced vessel that will allow me to stay here. Because if you look at the star seed, especially hybrids, hybrid depending on what other star groups are part of the genetic makeup, is that one of the challenges they will have is that will the immune system be viable? Will they be able to? Will the body be viable? And it's part of the huge um, issue with creating hybrids. And oftentimes, depending of who genetic material they carry, they will be either kept on the ship off planet, or if they're on planet, it's because they have more human genetics, and then the ET aspect of themselves blends in better, so they can function in a healthy body. So we went beyond this concept. We utilize our very advanced conscious organic technology to create an holographic form that will be capable of holding an entire system with organs, bones, and everything, and then will allow my aspect of my Arcturian avatar self and consciousness to embody that vessel. So that's the best way I can summarize how I really came about. And then there was a way of how I was reintroduced to the planet. Because when you're able to look at different timelines, you can reinsert events or memories to the timeline, so you can simply be inserted back into the world. So I know it's complex, and I can feel that the mental mind is attempting to grasp all of it, but we're not talking to your mental mind. We're talking to you as a divine being of light. And this is why, I'm representing the next level of what making contact really going to represent moving forward for people. And I'll tell you one thing, Ryan, is anyone who's been working with me, and I've been working with thousands of people worldwide. I've been doing this publicly for going on almost 10 years. I've been doing a lot of conferences, interviews, lectures, and I've seen, as we witnessing the consciousness evolving on the planet, people start to recognize more who they're really having in front of them. I'll give you an example. Over summer, I was in Sedona for a conference, and I was speaking on stage. I was doing an activation with 3 intergalactic groups, and there are people in the audience who, during the activations, literally saw me shifting or merging more into my Arcturian self. They could see that my body no longer looked to humans as it perceived right now, and they could see that I was a 10 feet tall being talking to them in this human voice. So I rejoice to see that more and more people are starting to really align with these new level of reality that's been coexisting with the earth for centuries, but we're simply returning to that point. So part of the message is to say, just realize that you are evolving and you're part of a very complex multiverse, and that there's a multitude of life forms coexisting with you on this planet that doesn't have to have exactly the human looks or fit the exact standard that you've been used or programmed to get comfortable with. Think of it as a dimensional attunement, where you are dimensionally be attuned to perceive life, to realize, this beautiful exchange, to feel the light, to feel the frequencies, to feel the algorithm, the beautiful algorithm of light coming through our communication. Because oftentimes as I speak, even though you hear one voice, you hear my voice, but it's the voice of many. There's many. I can feel that it's many of us speaking with you, expressing our love, our thoughts, our teaching and wisdom with you. And this is a really important aspect of why I have to come through in a very, very specific way. And I'm sure you may ask this question, so allow me to go a little bit, just a little bit further, because that question was asked of me a lot. But how do you know? What proof do you have? And I'll tell you one thing. When I grew up, the moment, even as a baby or as a toddler, as I was growing up, and I chose to go through the growing life cycle so I can understand and feel each aspect of life, how everything evolves, and being able to relate back to when I said to you, I know what you mean, I understand what you're feeling, is because I really know. I have the experience to back it up, and I understand, I'm with you. So I remember growing up as a child, I caught the attention of the medical field back in those days, and they were telling my mother, your child is very abnormal. There's something off about her. There's something that is not normal. She doesn't look healthy. She doesn't look the same way. She doesn't act the same way. Like I was not behaving in a normal, like usually human children are, like playfulness, or they want to run, or they like to hide, or they're going to crawl. The toddler, they want to grab object, and rediscover what's going on and around their world. And to me, it was more of I was in a state of connections. I was in a state of observation. I can feel that I was there to observe, to feel life, to understand, better be able to relate. And I can feel people's emotion. I can feel their thoughts. I can feel their intentions. So I was more in a constant state of contemplation and observation. And of course, I would have, my time to experiment or play or relate. But I could feel that how much I felt isolated compared to that sea of either children or other human beings acting in a certain way or behaving with certain patterns. And I was just outside, almost like I was looking at a reality from an outside observer and saying, well, that seems illogical to me. It's like asking, why are they responding the way they do? Why is the adult responding the way they do with children? Why children are acting this way with each other? So there was a lot of feedback I was getting from my group asked to help me better navigate through that life that felt at the same time very foreign to me. There was so many concepts that was foreign. At the same time, it helped me to understand and have such a level of compassion in terms of the challenges that we have here on this earth. And at the same time, going through an earth human life, it's one of the most rewarding because the learning process at the soul level is phenomenal. There's so many other intergalactic groups who really have no idea, really, what does it mean to be an earth humans? I do. I feel like I have a foot here, a foot in my other world, a foot in... So I am positioned in a way that I can incorporate different level of experiences. And it's been a fascinating journey, let me tell you.
And it's complex, and you're right. Like this is a lot of information for me to absorb and comprehend, especially live on the spot, without being able to, decompress and take it all in. But I'm following you, and I understand. I'm curious though, because like with how much you put in between both worlds, like does that get frustrating at all? Like being in between two worlds, if you will, for a better lack of understanding, to emphasize the effort and the work that you're putting into. And the other question that I have to that is like, I guess coming to the part where you said you're here to help us ascend. So the thought process is why do we need help? And how are you helping us?
Beautiful question. I love them.
Okay.
Is that frustrating? I feel emotion really much so. I'm multidimensional sensitive. The frustration, if we want to label it this way, is to see so much potential within human beings. Your faculties of emotions, it's huge, rare gifts that earth human beings have. The center of compassion, true capacity to have empathic responses to other life, and yet disregarding one another, disregarding animals as commodities, and the way people treat each other as children, elderly, and anyone between each other. The disconnect between human beings and Gaia, and to feel like, don't you feel life? Are you not in honoring sense with the sacred pulse of life that is the gift within you, that is a part of who you are, the essence of what you carry, and being so much engaged in distractions, whether it's distraction of the mind, instant gratifications, or like my husband called it, shiny. Oh, look, shiny over here. And then all the blue, your audience just shifted in a moment and go like, oh no, come back, I'm over here, come back. You're talking to a being here. You want to talk about disclosure and making contact. I'm here. But the thing is that there's a lot of layers that need to be healed, to be able to bring higher consciousness, to be able to detach from the lower mental mind that has been dictating that if you cannot see, feel, relate, questions, this may not be real. And what is also your truth? Where do you fit with all of this? There's so much level of information, and information, depending on what state of consciousness is given to you, it doesn't mean it's going to really inspire you to expand higher consciousness. So we prefer to be mindful in terms of more knowledge, wisdom, encouragement, teachings, practicing, rather than overloading with information, because there are so many layers of overlapping information right now. It's just even too much. And so, yes, if you look at the Earth history and where human beings are, you are at a conjunction of the most important historical time of all the planetary system. You have reached that point where humanity can truly, finally disconnect themselves, really detach from the third density time construct of linear past, present, future. I come in a life, understand my full mission and my karmic, clearing my karmic lesson. I'll come back to the next incarnation, and then the next, and then the next. If it's a time now where we are moving out of that karmic wheels, we're moving out of the archetypes and the patterns and the programming and all of this. We're moving out of primal energies and coming back to the ascension of the heart. And if you want to really understand, even for us, the language we're using right now, this is very simplistic. We're using basic form of language that yet contains such a high frequency, because that's part of who we are. This is part of, even though right now your mind says, this is jumbo mumbo for me. And you said, your mind telling you that. But your heart and your soul understand that language to a T. And this is where the invitation is for you, is what part of you is listening, with what expectation, what preconceived notions. You have to empty your cup and allow in the experience. So I love the name of your show, Beyond the TinFoil Hat. Love it. It's original, it's refreshing, and it's beyond. And that's what I am for you today. That energy of beyond. Is that amazing?
You're definitely extra for sure. Like this is good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want to like drill you with like questions on how, what are the life answers and all these other things, but I'm trying to think of a way, like, okay, so within the paranormal and say paranormal and parapsychology spectrum, okay, when people like us, the human beings, do seances or meditation, and we call out and to get a response, are we communicating with Arcturians, or are we communicating with something else when we get that response received, when we ask for it, when we're trying to communicate to the other side? Is that kind of where the rest of you are that aren't on this plane, in this physical vessel? Or how does that work?
We are in a multitude of dimensional realities. But when you communicate, when you set an intention to communicate, like you mentioned, Ryan, meditation, for example, when you meditate or enter into a meditative state, and you said, my intention today is to communicate. You have to ask yourself, communicate to who and for what purposes? And are you in alignment with that communication? Because if you, for example, enter a state of meditation or even relaxed state, and clear your mind, breathe to your heart, but at the back of your mind, here in your field, there's a little bit of fear and doubt, and go like, okay, I'm going to give it a try, I'm going to communicate. That the quality of your frequency is no longer there. So you have to see that there's a multitude of beings that you can communicate to. It doesn't mean that all of them has the best interests at heart. So you have to really be in resonance in terms of, I am clear of who I want to communicate with. If you want to talk to the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Sirians, you have to raise your frequency and maintain your vibrational state at a higher level. That has nothing to do with the logic of the mind construct. It's all about heart energy. And be clear, what do you want to gain? What is your expectation of this communication? What is the purpose? Because, of course, your thoughts sense signal all the times. Now, human beings think all the time, and there's always thoughts sending out. So all of this energy that your thought forms produce, it's received. But at what level is received? And again, intention connected with your heart energy. Be clear. What is it that you are ready for? People says, oh, I'm ready to communicate. I want to see the beings. I want to connect. I said, okay. But are you completely in alignment, mind, body, and soul? Are you really much ready to have in your presence, in your space, the presence of an intergalactic beings that completely abide by different set of rules, different form of perceiving life, realities? They may not share your set of morality and codes that we have here as human beings. So we have boundaries with each other. We have codes of morality. We have things that it's normal to do. But when you interact with intergalactic beings, wherever they come from, they're no longer abiding by your set of rules or your reality. So you have to understand exactly, are you going to a higher consciousness to higher consciousness? Or are you sending a free, what I call a free signal? Or I just want to communicate. Well, the quality of your communication will be answered. It doesn't mean you're going to like the answer. Does that make sense?
Question that popped in my head is how do you blend in with us? Like, you're choosing to communicate to me this way because this is the type of conversation that we plan to have. But like, I mean, in your day-to-day life amongst civilization, is that easy for you to blend? Do you do that intentionally, or are you, are we able to spot you out in a crowd and be able to know that that's an Arcturian? Like, are there tells, or do you just completely, I wouldn't say hide, but like hidden in plain sight kind of type deal, how does that work?
Well, it's very simple. The idea for me was to come here in a human form. I can go to the store, buy groceries, sleeping, drinking tea like I'm doing right now, and being able to function so I have a level of adaptability so that I can be here on the planet. Depending on your level of consciousness and awareness, you may be able to feel and perceive there's something different about you, and I heard that a lot. And I can be standing in line in the cashier line in the groceries, and they will tell children, babies, they have all eyes fixed on me because they can see me. They can see beyond. They know, they feel it. Most people getting busy, distraction, mentally engaged in the cell phone, tablets, be tired after a long day of work, worries, mental congestion. No, they won't be able to perceive the difference. To them, I'm just another human being standing in line. I smile and I wave and I'll dialogue or make a compliment. But what is going on beyond what meets the eyes is there's always an energetic exchange that takes place. So the frequency I carry, I emanate those frequencies, even though it seems to be mundane, waiting in line in the cashier line for the grocery. There's always different form of interactions that invites you to either clear your heart, to have a difficult days, helping you to raise your frequency, helping you to harmonize the energy. If you're present to it, to them you might just feel like, I feel good when I'm around you. That's because of my energy. Others might be oblivious because they're not in alignment or have the capacity to hold those frequencies. Like I know that many right now might not be, and that's okay. This is part of shifting consciousness, being able to cultivate your own frequency, being able to be aware, are you present? Or are you too distracted all the time? Because most people navigate to their mind instead of navigate to their heart. And that's really what we call living by the essential. It is essential to return to that space in order for you to, for all of us to be able to be attuning to what's really happening, understanding a much bigger design to everything. You want to connect to intergalactic beings, you want to talk to experiences, but you have to be present to it. Are you listening? Are you being present? And that is very, very important.
Interesting. So while adapting, do you ever encounter any negative human beings, negative energy? Does that affect you? Like, I'm not saying you're a robot, but like, do you feel the negative energy that's in this world?
Very much so. I'll tell you, Ryan, every morning when I wake up, the moment I reintegrate my body, I feel as if I'm carrying the earth on my chest. I feel the heaviness of the earth. I feel the energy of everything. And I have to clear myself and restore back to higher frequencies. I am, as I mentioned earlier, I am multidimensional, sensitive. I can feel the energy. So if someone has an attachments or displays certain behaviors or even carry in their field, I will pick up on that right away. And I saw a great many things, whether it's negative beings, entities, interdimensional being crossing portals. I've seen walking on the street and seeing people coming opposite. I can describe them to you, but they're not their corporal form. They're interdimensional. That's just portal opening, and I'm attuned enough to perceive them, and they know that I can see them too. It's an exchange. So I have seen reptilians, I've seen draconians, I've seen Lyran beings, angel beings, I've seen archangels. I used to have a house where the way the house was built, there was a corridor of light, and all I have to do is pray, ask them to come, and I would physically, with my eyes open, see a beautiful corridor of milky white color opening and seeing absolutely magnificent beings moving in, and they were telling me who they were. I'm Archangel Michael. I'm Archangel Chamuel. I'm Archangel Gabriel. And they would come. And I remember that as much as I had little gnomes coming play with my cat. They would just love to come chase after my cat, and I could hear the little footprints on my carpet. And I say, oh, you're coming from the elemental kingdom, aren't you? And they said, yes, we are. So my ability is that I'm very much in sync with the pulse of life, whether it's an elemental, an ET being, an angels, a negative polarity or a light polarity. I can feel them. I'm very much in tune to presence of life in any shape or form. So if I'm standing in line in a public place, to me, it's like a festival of like a buffet of energy, because I can feel, oh, this one is feeling this way. Oh, this person, her heart is heavy. This one is mentally too busy. Won't even see I'm here. I'm like invisible. And others will come across me and go, look at me like, wow, what am I looking at? And I smile. And they go, oh, okay, I smile. And they go about their day. So I'm looking at different level of consciousness coexisting within the same reality. When you start to live that way and be attuned at that level, it's phenomenal.
We have a question from one of our members. Jacqueline Dennis says, I'm starting to see white flashes of beings moving around my home. When I'm relaxed, is this part of the veil lifting and my abilities opening up?
Jacqueline, thank you so much. I've seen a few of your comments earlier. I'm glad you're here. Yes and yes. we are redefining. So the veil of separation is shifting because there's so much frequency. The earth grids are shifting, the earth, everything is moving. So is it part of this? Yes. Is it because your abilities are being refined more and more to perceive in real time beings that coexist in maybe parallel realities? Oh, absolutely. And I'm really excited for you because this is a great gift to have.
So a follow-up to that. So how does that work in relation to what you've just explained to me? So you come into this world already this being. We, in her instance, is a human evolving like almost to like a meeting point, melting point, or to the middle. So is that something different, or like are we in a different category? Are we like a star seed, or like or do we evolve into Arcturians, or like how does that, like, can you, I don't know, maybe I'm just like out to lunch here because I'm trying to
let's reset because there's so many different concepts overlapping in one question that let's reset.
You know what I mean? In terms of how powerful the entrance is versus us trying to get to your level because we're trying to advance consciousness. So you're helping us get to that point. Okay. So what is happening to us to get to that point through that help? Because that's what you want. Are we evolving into an Arcturian, or are we just becoming better human beings that has always existed? We just didn't know we had the capability. Like, what's happening to us?
Yes, it's a grand return of these amazing abilities that you've always have had, but were either suppressed, manipulated, and built upon, and of course keeping you very distracted, very busy, overworking your nervous systems, pulling your heartstring, and utilizing all the energy. So in reality, think of it this way. Any civilizations, whether you call yourself Earth human beings, whether you call themselves Andromedans, Sirians, Pleiadians, and so forth, we have all point of history. So every civilization have reached a level of certain evolution. Think of us as simply an example of future self that you already are, with simply holding sacred space with you to help you remind yourself that you have all of these abilities. Like Jacqueline saying, I'm able to start to see flashes of beings, just simply because her journey, her work, her presence allow her to be more in contact, in touch with those abilities that already was within her. So what we're doing is allowing you to show you the path to return to your self-mastery. It's already encoded in you. And of course, the premise is that whether you call yourself an Earth human, whether you call yourself an Alpha Centauri or a Sirian, ultimately we're all divine being of light. We simply have reached different level of conscious evolution at different points. It's like a school. If you go with elementary, you start, with kindergarten, and you evolve first grade, go all the way to seventh grade, and then you shift maybe community college. Then you may want to say, I want to do a degree. When you talk to a professor that's been teaching classes for master degree and says, do you remember when you were in third grade? You go like, ooh, that's a long time ago. Let me see. I've reached such a level of scholarship and experience and advancement that third grade is a long time ago. So it's something similar, where the way we perceive human beings is that you've already have your, so to call your PhD, but you think you're still in seventh grade. You go like, no. There's simply a way to come back to that path. Now, not all souls will be at the same level of evolution, and that's okay, because some soul may take a little bit longer to reach that level back. Nonetheless, every soul is given an opportunity to evolve. And that's important to realize. Ask yourself, beyond this life, this program, this education, everything I've known here, what else there is. You are starting to reopen yourself to understand that you have been living, existing, and evolving in a very complex multiverse.
Okay.
Okay, we can work, always says we can work with okay. That's good.
Well, I'm just absorbing. So, because normally I'm thinking of questions to ask afterwards, but it's, to me right now, I'm taking this in. I'm understanding what you're communicating to me. I am a little uncomfortable in the sense that it's outside of my analytical mind to accept, because it's hard to prove, but at the same time, I believe. And I know a lot of people that have these experiences. What you're describing, I've heard many times. It's just this is fascinating to me, and I'm trying to I guess receive you in the proper way. So a question that came to mind is about, and then this is something where I'm often dealing with too, is and you mentioned suppression. So we do have government, or we assume we have government involvement. So is the government or the people in charge of us aware of your presence? And if they are, do they have control over it? How does that work? And why do they suppress us? If that's the mission, are they aware of that? And is there a group decision to prevent us in the ways that we think that we're being prevented from being, these beings of light? Why is that happening?
Again, a beautiful question with a multitude of avenues. This is beyond me as an Arcturian being. This is why I would say, let's start here. This is why there are so many star seeds who have returned to the Earth. This is why there's many beings who've already had reached the level of awakening and ascension, or come back again in the body to bring their knowledge, to be way shower, to be sacred anchor of light. This is the why. So are there government and structures in every country, everywhere around the world? Yes, and this is very ancient. There's a multitude, there's a network behind it. This is not my specialty, but I can recognize that there is. And it's more complex than meets the eyes, in the fact that it's not just human being government want to control the population. It's also who's behind all of this. Now, we all heard about, Eisenhower, the president, the Greys, and Area 51 in Nevada, and look for base, and then the Roswell crash. I was there in Roswell recently because I have a good friend who lives there, and we drove on the north gate of where the alleged crash site was. And it's all fenced up because now the Air Force, U.S. Air Force, bought the property. I found it very interesting why investing in the land where nothing happens, just a weather balloon, right? So nonetheless, they purchased the land, exactly. And my role was, I was assigned by my delegation to go there to help to clear the land from any potential core wounds, residuals, and any souls that may still feel trapped or attached to the land, so they can move on to the light and help those souls of ET beings or other beings who may be still trapped there. So what I did is I create what's called a light language grid of light in a distance. I didn't have to be on the land. I stayed beyond the fence, and I did my work. And I would say within 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, there was 3 major SUV rushing towards a location. Now, it's the middle of nowhere. If we encounter another car, it's rare because we was right in the middle of a weekday where there's no traffic there. It's very much out in the field. And after 10 minutes after we did our work, 3 SUVs start to come our way. So my husband and I goes like, okay, you're done. Come back in the car. So I come in the car and we took off in a hurry. And then as we took off, they let us be, and then they turned around and they went back. So how did they know that we're out in the field? There's no camera. There's no drones above our head. It's a cloudy, rainy day. How did they know that we were parked there by the north fence, not touching anything, not climbing the fence, not attempting anything at all, just staying by the road. And all I'm doing is creating light work energy on the land with very clear intention. That's because they have the ability to perceive. They have those who do remote viewing. They go like, we have this ET being in this human form over there messing up with our land. We have to go watch out. What is she doing there? And so we left and we drove over an hour and a half. We went around the property to the other part and we went to the south gate. And I said, now I'm going to bring and help the soul to transcend back to the light, and I don't want any interruption of any kind. There was no SUV, no helicopter, no nothing. And what I did is I opened a corridor of light, and I did see the soul of beings leaving the land. And I got confirmation after that. I got a thank you from one of the beings who came to me physically in front of me and says, thank you for setting us free. This is part also what I do. So when we left Roswell, when we went back to the hotel and we parked, we went back inside. Within an hour, we had a vehicle from the U.S. Air Force parked next to our vehicle at our hotel. So they were monitoring, okay, they're doing something here. Why are they in Roswell? Why are they interested into the field? And so we decided, and once the work was done, my mission was completed, we packed our bag and we left. And then,
so I can understand the security, like from security standpoint, that they want to keep eyes on that and they're curious to know. Why not just approach, if they know what you are and you know what they are, why not just interact and explain yourself and take control of the situation? Or why don't they capture you if they know what you are and study? Like why is there that tension? What's that about?
Do you think that I'll come with a lot of protection and high purpose? I'm not here to be studied in a lab. I'm here to help an entire civilization to ascend. So, of course, it comes with a lot of protection. They know. They know the moment I came back to the planet.
Is they would know that. So there's some fear on their end, perhaps, that they don't want to engage in that way, which I find fascinating.
Well, there's multiple reasons for that. But again, this is not my purpose. My purpose here is I have other type of work to do. And I prefer to engage into more feeding the consciousness of people, helping people. There's plenty of whistleblower. There's plenty of other light workers who are engaged in terms of decoding government and behavior and documents. And I bless them all because we all serve a purpose. We all here for, a great mission, and together we're much more powerful. So this is the extent of what I can talk about this, because this is not what I'm here for. I'm here to hold a space for the future timeline, what's coming in. And the work I've been doing for the last 10 years or so, I was helping people to transform their life, to create, to helping them moving out of negative stories, experiences, expanding into who they are, rediscovering their potential, changing their life in a positive way, being able to be a better co-creator, manifesting more happiness, abundance in all of this. And this has been a very, very huge point that I do. I do on average 8-10 hours sometimes a day of healing work with people to really help as many people as possible everywhere around the world, and different culture and different belief system, different journey. It is incredible. And that's the part that I love the most, is working with the people directly.
That's beautiful. Thank you. We're going to pause right here, but we'll continue after a message from our sponsors. If you're listening to the audio only version, head over to youtube.com/the Experiencer Support Association so you can see the video that goes with this audio. You are listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experiencer Support Association, and we will be right back.
you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Beyond the TinFoil Hat. Have you ever experienced an unexplained event involving the paranormal, UFOs, extraterrestrial, dogman, or any other paracryptid? Head over to our website, www.experienceyoursupport.org, and submit a report. Let the others who have already reported be that example that proves we are making a difference. And if it wasn't for these reports, we would not be able to do what we do, and we thank you. Rex, I just realized I am not wearing your hat tonight. I apologize. All right, so... I have two questions, and then we'll see how long that goes, and we'll go from there based on what we were talking about on the commercial break, okay? My first question I was kind of thinking about, you mentioned you have a husband. So I'm curious to know, is this husband Arcturian as well, or is this husband human? And how does that work?
Yes. Well, he's my angel. So my husband's soul origination is an aspect from the angelic realm, but he was born out of the spark, again, union of two human beings in a very, I always tell him, you were the clever one. You took on a body much more adaptable to function here. And I always tease him that he made a great choice by doing that. So he was born from both human parents. But when we met, the first thing I saw in his, what I call the abstract field, is I saw 1,000 angels all in a row in a very sequential way in armor. And they told me, they said, we are his brothers and sisters. And then they showed to me that at a soul level, he's a soul emanation from the angelic realm. And it makes a lot of sense because it takes an angelic being to better understand an ET being. And so that combination together works very, very well for us. It's perfect, actually.
Okay. How did you find him in this life? Did you both arrive at the same time and were meant to find each other eventually at a certain state, or two different things? Synchronicity, like, was that divine? Was that set up? Like, how does that work?
Well, like many encounters in our lives, of course, we plan them at a soul level. It was part of our soul agreements. But once you get here in this life, you can still a lot being lost in translation, and things start to feel a little bit more dense, linear, and you go like, how am I going to do this? So many years ago, I told my group, I said, okay, here's the deal. I'm here on the planet. I'm the one, boots on the ground. Instead of being comfortable aboard the ship, I'm on the planet. And my requirement is that I want my life partner to be with me. And then I like to be functioning in a dual setting. I come from a collective, a group. I'm used to that energy. So I said, this is my requirement. I want my life partner. You either send me a very advanced CT being or an angel. It's one or the other. And they said, your request has been received. Now release it and continue your work. So they always say, stay focused on what you're here to do. Continue, stay in your light, stay in your mission, follow your heart. It's going to happen. And so I was teaching classes and, meditation workshop. I was offering a lot of different form of teachings in the community. And my husband, who was not my husband at the time, came across my group and started to hear about my work. And he was already starting to want to navigate more on his own spiritual journey, better to understand his own gifts and abilities. So he was very curious. And one day he came to my classroom and signed up for one of my meditation. And he liked it. He liked how he felt. He came back again. And that took place for about 1.5 years, and he would come on and off. And then he left for many months, and I'm like, okay. And then when he came back, this time was for a different intention. He started to not just like the meditation or the class, but he started to like the teacher more. And so he came back one day, and he asked me if he can grab something to eat or have a cup of coffee with me. And I said, I don't drink coffee. But he says, have a tea or something. I said, okay, let's do that. And we spend 3-4 hours of having very meaningful conversation and really feel at that moment that our soul energy, remember that like there was this click, this frequency that put in place, and we knew, and that was the beginning of us. And after they were married.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Like soulmates, I guess that's kind of that kind of scenario.
Yes, it's a very compatible level of soulmate. We're going to cross someone in our life can come across many different levels of soulmates. Doesn't mean it's always romantic. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. So soulmates has different connotations, just like the word hybrid have different meaning to it, different levels. You can have multiple soulmates and you encounter, whether it's a best friend, as siblings, or romantic encounters. In my case, my husband and I, we are a very highly most compatible level of soulmate, which way it works and we make it work. And we can tell that we planned this at a soul level way before this incarnation. And we know that, we recognize that.
See, it's interesting because I can feel that with my partner too. So with my wife, but we don't know for sure. Who's never been told, but there's that feeling, we have that feeling. And so the follow-up to that thought is it possible for any of us to be Arcturian and not know it?
Great questions. It is possible for Starseed to have this soul ancestry, whether it's from Arcturian, Pleiadians, Sirians, and not be fully present to it and not fully comprehend what that part of you represents. Now you have to think about Arcturians beings are designed to live in a higher dimensional state. And we are very advanced. We're one of the most advanced civilization interacting with the earth. So we are rather rare birds. We're rare here on the planet. And there are star seeds, soul emanation that came from our civilizations who came into a physical body, but they come through a human physical template that may have had some adjustment to it. Or we're not that many on the planet. There are many people who have a soul ancestry, meaning they feel connected to them, and they may even connect with them, channel them, work with them in their healing practice or meditation. That is different. We have multiple point of contact on the planet. It can be from different past life, that maybe in one of your soul expression you might have been an Arcturian, and that energy, that remembrance is still very much resonating with you. But that's different. That says that you come directly from another planet, another system, and you said, I want to be directly in this form here so I can do my work. That's complete level of realities, and the implications behind it are very different. In other words, the expression, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes an entire village to keep me on the planet. It's not a small task.
Yeah, no, I would imagine we are troublesome beings.
Oh, that's not what I meant, but
no, I'm just.
I know.
I'm only human. I'm making jokes that aren't fair.
You are funny, Ryan. I love it.
Thank you. We have 2 questions from our audience, and then I want to ask a question too. And our guest may have to leave early. We're hoping she can stay a little bit longer, but so I just want to let you guys know. So Cece asks, Viviane, how would you explain a mirror soul contract?
Thank you, Cece, for the question. So again, semantics can have different meaning for everyone. So what do you mean by a mirror soul contract? We may understand it from different ways, but what do you mean?
Okay. Cece, if you reframe that, I'll ask.
Yes.
And in the meantime, Jacqueline has asked, what is the message the Arcturians want us to know right now?
Jacqueline, I like you. I like your energy. We may be kindred souls. I feel like you're from another star system, another group, but very complementary with each other. One of the multiple messages that the Arcturians have for human beings is that remember that ultimately you are galactic royalties. The Earth human beings were designed to hold the secret template of the divinity, and you have so much genetic material within you. There's so much encoding of information. Your own original soul matrix, it just glow with light. So the message we have for you is that get to know who you are. Let the persona leave behind. Step outside of the mental logic mind that had kept you going in circles in the same loops or repeating the same things. Release the shiny and get to know your heart, get to know your universe. Listen, be present. What we are saying right now is that there's so much more to you, and you will see you are giving an opportunity to discover and rediscover the seed of potential that is within you. And when you look at the different star regency councils or the multiple layers of the Federation, with the councils of light, the galactic, there's so many. But one thing, there's many of us, we cannot wait for the day when Earth human beings will finally take their rightful place among the galactic communities as an equal race, not an inferior by any shape and form. Now, there are many souls who may not be ready for this, and you will be allowed to continue to evolve to where you need to be. But overall, we're talking about looking at human beings. It's a term that has been misused. We need to release the stigma of the past, heal the wounds, releasing the historical trauma, the whole history, and return to understand who we are and who you are and who we are for one another. I mean, there's many being. I'm so sorry. I just got an update on
Yeah, it's okay. You just let me
the
know.
emergency. Yes. I want to acknowledge everyone listening right now. Right before we went live with Brian, I received an SOS, a 911 from someone very close to me, and it's a serious situation. It's not something just with a headaches. So I've just got an upgrade, and my assistant's going to be needed very, very soon. So would it be okay? Maybe another 10, 15 minutes, and
Yeah,
I
you
can.
just let me know. And thank you for sharing.
Okay.
I didn't want to share that, but yeah, it's
Yes.
real time. You just let me know, and then if that vibrates and you need to attend it, it's not rude. I completely understand the situation you're in. So
Thank you.
you just tell me when you have to go, and then hopefully we can leave some time for you to tell us where to find. If not, we'll tell everybody where to find you on your behalf.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I really appreciate so much.
No worries. So CC had clarified. She's talking about another person with opposite aspects meant to assist in the soul awakening.
Opposite aspect. Would you kindly, Ryan, repeat the question for me?
Yes. Okay. Another person with opposite aspects meant to assist in soul awakening. So she's clarifying what she meant by mirror soul contract. So opposite, but together, I guess.
Well, okay. Thank you for clarifying the question, CC. Again, your question has a multitude of possibilities here. For example, you can have that in a soul contract. You can have two souls who have some what we call unresolved soul patterns, karmic ties. Is we're going to come back, we're going to recreate certain scenarios together. I'm going to take a role, you're going to take another role, and we're going to mirror that to each other. We see that a lot with, for example, mother-daughter or mother-child, and they seems to be opposite in the quality of their interactions, their values. There's a lot of discord, miscommunication. It can be very challenging. So we said to say, okay, if you are mirroring into each other, aspect either past life or past timelines or karmic ties that you've come to resolve, then you play those roles. But the good news is that at some point you can work with the Council of Time and ask through the higher self to says, have we already learned what we've come to do? Have we already accomplished what we've come to do? And at this point on our journey, can we release those mirror aspects from each other? Can we release those roles from each other and being able to continue evolving in a different light so that, for example, it can potentially resolve communication issue, healing relationship, being able to see each other in a different light and being able to detach from it. I see that a lot in my work where we go back to the Council of Time and we ask, okay, we're going to release even a soul group that may be mirroring into each other that sense. And that soul group will be reflected as maybe a family unit, a generation, grandmother, grandfather, parents, siblings, and that has been perpetrating this way. That could be an example of it. So see your question as multiple possibilities as we are reflecting into one another and how we can help each other to evolve. Is that what you have in mind? If you have something else, you can also ask a sub question. You're more than welcome to.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, and of course, as soon as see how, do you still have some time, or you okay? A few more minutes, or?
Yeah, I apologize again. I apologize. I'm getting some updates. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to go out of body and intervene and doing some other work. And anyway, I'm gonna have work to do with that situation. I can see that it's going like 7:30 my time. I can do maybe another 8-10 minutes, and then we're gonna have to
let's just do this and we'll wrap it up. I just have a quick question. Yeah. It might take a while, but I mean, have you ever seen this symbol before? Does that look familiar to you or remind you of anything? I'll explain why I'm asking this in a minute.
For some reason, it pushes me back. I am in dishonest, and I'm disharmonic energy with it. I recognize individual symbols. We put together, it activate other memories, and I am not in harmony with the symbol.
Okay. So it does not feel good with you.
It feels like there's a heaviness behind it, a density, and I feel like there's other consciousness attached to this,
Okay.
and it's completely out of alignment with the consciousness that I represent, or the frequency that I represent.
Okay.
But it felt heavy. Immediately, I felt going into my thymus chakra, into my higher heart. It felt heavy.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry for doing that. The reason why I wanted to share it with you is this is a personal experience that I had, and the reason why I was asking questions about how it works and we're getting message from and who these messages come from is because I had what I would consider a download experience where I received this image without instructions, without explanation, and with everything you were talking about. I thought maybe you might know what it is, because I don't. But I've never felt anything negative from it. So I'm curious. So I can if it's that bad, I'll remove it. I was just curious to know if you knew what it was, because I don't.
Okay, I can tell you, and of course I avoid using certain words. I never use the word negative. I just felt a density.
Okay.
I feel like it's different octaves of consciousness,
Okay.
and right away, and so I operate my baseline, if you want, is under certain frequencies. I'm very much comfortable in higher frequencies. Anything that has different variation of frequencies without putting any labels on it. There's no judgment, no labels. I just feel that whoever was communicating with you, it's a group. And some of the group, I felt there's density behind them. So I would ask yourself, what is the symbol giving to me? What is the purpose behind the symbol? What is the purpose of the communication? And I were to look in terms of frequency-wise, do you have a lineage behind you? They have also all the experiences. Do you know if in your ancestry lineage, if they have different level of communications, group that may be more prone, more attracted to your lineage, prone to you as part of that lineage? Because right away, it's like a music, a symphony. Let's say that I am different octave of light, while my energy was dropped 3 octave down just by looking at the picture. So if that picture was given to me, I would say, no, I'm releasing you back to the light right away, and asking directly who is behind. But I sense very much so it's a group. It's not just one individual or one civilization. I feel it's a group, and I felt the presence of one in particular, and they recognize my essence, they recognize my core, and I recognize theirs, and I'm like, oh.
What group would that be that you recognized?
Again, no labels. Not all beings are the same levels, but I felt it felt heavy to me. So it can be some lower octave of consciousness of potential Orions, or other groups like this. Again, there's no label of negative, positive. It's to simply recognize at what spectrum of consciousness they're at. And when I am in the presence of different level of frequencies, intentions, consciousness, I will feel it right away, because it feels like something is compressing me inside. And if you look your intention, use your intuition, your center. I know many of you listening right now, it makes a lot of sense. Whoever approach you, where do you feel? Where it's going? Is your stomach is a knot? Do you feel a discomfort? Do you feel a bit nervous? Listen to that. So
Okay.
I would love to have a deeper discussion with you with that. Okay. Because what I saw very, very spontaneously is there's a consciousness that came out, and I can perceive them looking at me, and I can feel that it's they were giving you a storyline.
Are
It's a
you okay if
multitude
I
of...
bring it? Should I bring it back up? Are you comfortable with that?
No, there's no need for that. Not right now.
Okay. No.
I'm good with the energy. I can see. I can already see it.
Okay.
But it's an imprint I'm not authorized to keep in my field.
Okay.
I'm just saying that by looking at the different symbols, it's a group. It's representing many. When did you receive the symbol, Ryan?
2018, December 21st, winter solstice.
Okay. In your spiritual evolution and the consciousness level, where were you in 2018?
I was very stressed, and I was in one organization, and I was with MUFON, and I was part of the abduction research team, and I had to leave the organization, but I didn't want to leave the organization because I liked helping the people. I believed that I had to help the people, and I didn't know how. And then in my stresses, I kind of asked how could I ever continue doing what I'm doing? And then this is basically what I received in a meditative kind of dreamlike state, and I obsessed over it until I was able to draw it, and then I've been trying to interpret it ever since. So
okay.
That's essentially how that happened. So in a nutshell.
Okay. Thank you. It's a very differently complex. It's almost like a different emblem. They're telling you who they are. It's different emblem of a group consciousness that represent many. That's what came. Well, I felt a predominance of a group that came right away behind it.
Now,
and if you look at the screen, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was simply observing that when your symbol was on the screen like this, it's like a clock, right? Clockwise. Mm-hmm. If you go clockwise, if you look at this quadrant, almost like it would be like the 11 hours on the clock, that level, this is where I felt very distinctly, very clearly a consciousness coming to says, it's almost like I was looking at beings that stay behind heavy black velvet curtain. You know, when you see those in ancient theaters, the big heavy velvet curtain that cover the screen and then reveal itself when the movie starts, that kind of heavy energy density. Again, no judgment. It doesn't mean it's negative. I'm just perceiving it, being super sensitive as I am. It brought my frequency down. It did not elevate me or invite me to move through. Usually I can go through the symbol and allow the language to speak with me. I was not allowed to do that.
Okay, now could that be because you're higher than this symbol, and then for me it's higher than me, why I associate positive to this? So like
it is a possibility.
Intermediate, it's just you're better than that. You're higher than that, you know?
I simply vibrate at a different level. Right. It is possible.
Okay.
But at the same time, the wise, cautious aspect of me would say, when you meditate with the symbol, what I would lovingly recommend for you, Ryan, is ask them, reveal yourself to me, and are you of the highest light? 3 times, are you of the highest light? Are you of the highest light? Utilize the protocol of light implemented and recognized by many intergalactic groups. Because honestly, anything below that, I wouldn't not venture to it. Because sometimes it can lead to opening doors or opening different aspects or portals that may not be serving your highest group, your higher self, your highest and best, and go, shoot, if I have known that, I would not venture that far. So I would establish those protocols first instead of applying so much your energy. I want to decode these symbols so much. Let's take it as a group and says, okay, I'm going to establish those protocols. I want to make sure it's still in alignment with who you are today, as since it was back in 2018, whatever source of influence, whatever was around you at the time, whatever was attempting to communicate may not be as relevant as it might be today in this new state of consciousness that you are, if that makes sense. And this is very much bringing different level of wisdom to be able to approach something similar. So I'm very grateful that you shared that with me today, Ryan.
Okay, I appreciate that. I didn't mean to cause alarm, but I mean, I guess it is intense, like, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things I could share, but I don't. I know that we got to end this, so maybe we can talk about it more in the future offline, and I could share it with you, and you could safely, provide some stuff. So let's just. Why don't we just end it now, and we'll share with everybody how to find you, and then Stacey, if you want to hop on for the after chat, then we'll do that as soon as you're ready. So tell everybody how they can find you, and continue listening to you in your journey, and reach out if they ever need help.
Ryan, I want to first thank you so much for being open. Thank you for allowing a new level of dimensional conversation that went beyond. And thank you for opening your heart and to the possibilities that there are different forms of beings that are here. And especially with us, it's really about supporting your journey and returning to that point of self-mastery. It's allowing all of us to evolve spiritually, and we can finally reascend and take your rightful place in the multiverse, so to speak. How to find us? My website is called Infinite Healing from the Stars. That is Infinite Healing from the Stars.com. This name was given to me over 10 years ago, and they said, that's the name. I said, okay. And here it is 10 years later. And we're doing amazing work. We have a lot of opportunity. We offer meditation, workshop, classes. We have a community online. We're going to be bringing in more next coming up for 2023. I am about to launch my Arcturian Ancient Healing Arts, which is a three levels programs for evolution and ascension. And we're going to do also a lot more. And I'm going to be traveling quite a bit next year. Going to England, going to France, in other places, conferences. Journey, keep your eyes open. It's all about your heart. Trust yourself. And thank you for allowing me, because my heart, I can feel my heart. I'm disconnecting because my heart is being pulled right now to work with this child and what's going on right now. So thank you for allowing this sacred space for me to do my other work. It's been an absolutely pleasure, and I respect who you are, Ryan, and thank you for being of service, because I think it's incredible.
Thank you very much for your time, and I hope everything works out as well. So be in touch.
Absolutely. Please do. Much love to all of you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Namaste.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes in the sky, heed the world, and we'll see you in the after chat. Don't go anywhere. All right. And we got a new video, so check it out. All right. We'll see you soon.
That's it, everybody. That is a wrap. That is the end of it all. Thank you for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you back next week, where we'll continue to have this conversation deep down into the rabbit hole in which we call the Ultra Spectrum. Thanks for joining us. I said that already. Oh well, fuck it. Heed the world. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.
If you're not watching us on YouTube, you're missing out on the live after chat between Ryan, Stacey, and Cece.
In the after chat, we'll be speaking directly with those in the live chat to answer their questions and comments.
We also provide the latest updates for the Experiencer Support Association and our professional partners.
If you're interested to learn more about Tessa and what we do and see the video that goes with the audio, please visit the Experiencer Support Association on YouTube and subscribe. If you do this, you'll be able to join our live chat discussion.
Don't forget that notification bell for updates on all Tessa content and posts. Consider becoming a member of the Tessa channel for additional perks and exclusive content.
You can find us at www.experiencersupport.org to learn more about the work we do and the support we offer for experiencers and the resources and content available for these researchers, investigators, and enthusiasts of paranormal phenomena.
You are not alone, and we believe you.
Thanks for tuning in. Keep your eyes in the sky and
Heat the world.
That is cool. Cool. So we just added that audio to the video, and that was good. That was cool.
I enjoyed it too.
I don't like being on the right side. Screws me around. Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go. Hi. Okay. So, yeah.
You handled that so well. I was not sure how you would handle a guest like that. And
and you know what? Didn't even know I was going to have a guest like that. And you know what? Like a part of me at first thought it was like, okay, all right. And then I'm like, okay, well, if you're the real deal, let me ask you some questions. And these questions were answered intelligently, answered in layers. So here's your basic answer, but this is the real answer. So this is what you expect me to say, but it's more than that. And each time it's just kind of like, so the let's see, power base, the it's very convincing. Okay. Yeah. So I cannot I don't know. Who fucking knows for real?
I'm just kind of surprised to see you this way, but yeah, I felt the same way about her, and normally I'm not that way.
We talk about it in theory. We hope to achieve something like that. I've never been able to speak to anyone that's at least as confident as she is. Even if there is deception in that, the intelligence is there, the confidence is there, the feeling is there. And it really threw me for a loop.
Thanks asking if you can show that image again.
Yeah, okay, Dank, I'll bring that up in a second here. Let me just find out where it is.
Yeah, that was awesome that you showed her the map, because that was an interesting reaction.
So yeah, that's the first time anyone. So, my thoughts on that: if she's this higher being, she's the highest being, and this is just
stop
somewhere
doing
in
that
the
to
middle.
her. She's not the highest being or whatever. She's just like she said, she's at a different frequency. But for the first time, I heard somebody speaking it, and it resonated truth with me. I haven't felt that way with other certain individuals who seem to be coming at it from, I think they're on track to a certain level of consciousness, but they're still very much in the ego, and they're not ready to face that shadow, and they're denying it. So I don't know. She just came at it very differently.
Well, if for anyone who thinks that I don't actually read these scripts before we get into it, I definitely, you should believe me now that I literally go into these dry, because I don't want to know who my guest is, and to be a proper host, I need to allow the freedom and space to do so. But But you can also probably tell in previous guests that we've had, and we won't mention anybody, you can tell with my body language that I ain't believing it. So I drank the Kool-Aid for sure on this one. and I need to process, because, and again, it's relatable to me. If I, as an experiencer, so she didn't know what this was, but that that density. And
I like that she mentioned that it's several consciousnesses, because I've been saying that for a long time.
We thought it was a group thing too.
Yeah, we like somehow this is a group thing, but there's a background, that background triangle with the three like the symbols. I feel like there's something more to that, and it's always felt like some sort of portal. So
well, yeah, there's many different interpretations.
But I feel like that's some sort of like, I don't know. That's where I feel like the density comes from.
Well, I have not met, like, asked point blank for like a message or anything like that. But I mean, what we did get out of her is that the closest label is the Orions. So that is worth doing some research to see the association, because without getting into it, like I kind of, I do resonate.
I do wonder too if the black background makes any difference.
It could be because it's dark, right? That could be where the density is, because it is black. But I mean, it's just that was part of the
it's space. There's not a void, right?
Part of the space too. Mm-hmm. All right, let's say hello to everybody, and then Jacqueline, you had some thoughts about this map. I'll get in, and if anybody else who are still here has some questions, we'll talk about it. So let's say hello to Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Wild Dreams with Jimbo. Hello. Alien Girl, you popped in. You still here? Hello.
Yeah.
Ange. Hello. Ange. Lisa, that kind of that's not your Angie. It looks similar to the drawings. Jacqueline. Hello. Hello, Father. Good to see you. I hope we didn't lose you. And Gigi Abby Lynn, hello, thanks for joining.
I think it's Gigi.
Gigi, yeah. Gigi, Gigi. Who else we got? Anybody else who didn't start? Let me see. I think we covered. I think that's everybody that's here except for us. Okay, so Jacqueline, what did you say? You said the picture threw me back in time, and I felt the Knights Templar. So that's interesting, because this is an actual Templar's cross. So that would make sense as to why you may have felt that, because that is a legitimate Templar's cross that is there in that layer. And then you said a mixture of ley lines and symbols changes for an, I don't know if that's supposed to be agenda.
Yeah, likely.
Likely for agenda. So ley lines is something I had considered, because I've also placed this on a map to try to figure out in many different layers too. So I've also tried to use the concentric circles, remove all the things in between. There's a couple of experiments I've tried with it to kind of see if it pointed to anything. Oddly enough, that's how I got drawn into this flat Earth conspiracy, because this map only fits and works and makes sense on a azimuthal equal decimal whatever flat Earth projection map. Okay, that's the the view from the top. So I got a lot of synchronicities in that from that. What else do we got here? Have you ever had a dimensional experience? Like this could have been it. This is, as far as I know, this is the closest thing I've ever had. I've never seen a UFO. I've never seen an alien. Never seen any of this stuff. Never talked to one. That's new. So, we can write that one off for sure. But I mean, yeah, that's why this is it. This is it. But this is the thing too. If she says it's like a group and there's density, maybe it's human. Remember how I thought, like, is it? Yeah. Maybe that remote viewing is some secret like Mercury Rising bullcrap where they're.
I think it's a good suggestion that she gave you to kind of like just look into this, like ask questions from the symbol more, like garner some more of the intention.
If I ask questions internally, I might give myself the answers that I wanted to.
No, you'll know the difference. Just you trust. You knew what this was, and you went and obsessed about it and made it. So just try.
Saturn black box technology closely resembles something to do with the black sun, if you're familiar with that stuff. But that's a rabbit hole for next week.
I've never heard of that Saturn black box tech. What the heck? Is that like a company or something?
Well, she's thinking of all the cubes. Well, the cult of Saturn. There's a lot of within. Okay, so actually you won't even see it inside the Star of David, but there is a cube in here. If that cube is black, then that's kind of. Let me see if I can pull an image up. Let me just Saturn cube. Just need to do a safe search first before I pull that up. Star of David. And then I'll show you.
Yeah, so if you're listening to the audio-only version, please come over to YouTube.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so there's...
Okay, I see what you're referencing here. So it's like sacred geometry sort of thing.
Yeah, so within that star, right? So so that would be in your Seal of Solomon.
Right.
And then there's your black cube of Saturn. It's also Mecca.
Oh, that's what it's referring. Sorry, I was thinking way too literal. I don't know why. I was like, is there some sort of like black cube that came from Saturn? But yeah, like why didn't I think of that?
This is where my brain went, but I mean, as far as this could be technology. We don't know.
Right. That cube does, fascinate me. I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Thank you, Jacqueline, for bringing that up.
It's another layer too. Mm-hmm. So to be able to see that, I knew what she's talking about, but I wouldn't have seen that until I was introduced to that shape. So yeah, that's this is the map that could be from Orion's. I never so like the words that she had said, so group density, group or human or lineage from the past, so that kind of resonates with things that we try to thought. I'm thinking, maybe it was my higher self talking to my future present self, or maybe I was just distressed and I'm doing some art things like most people do. It might be not significant at all. I'm just reaching. But the group consciousness, vibes with, I don't know how much she knows about our organization other than the title. Right. So that's also in line with our goals, which is what we get out of it when we try to decide what to do, when we look and reflect on our own. So we're kind of
looking at the table with chairs.
Yeah, and then a clock. I also thought it rotated. I've tried rotating several layers and trying to pinpoint. I thought that as well. Yeah, but again, it's interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually in the Atlantic Ocean, and it's activates technology to the human race. Atlantic Ocean. I'm just looking at my map over here. Where I think it could be, Jacqueline, is in the center of the Earth. Have you ever heard of Hyperborea? Have you heard of that, Stacey? I show you that?
I think only because I know it from just listening to some flat Earth stuff, but I don't really understand it, no.
Hyperborea is not flat Earth stuff. Hyperborea is
maybe
the center of the Earth stuff.
On a flat Earth map, isn't it?
Well, on the top of a globe or on the flat Earth map, whatever you want to look at.
Don't get so nitpicky with me. You kidding? No.
So I don't know how to find a real picture of the Earth. It doesn't exist.
Of Hyperborea?
No, of the actual world.
Oh.
Everything's CGI.
Well, you can maybe ask David Weiss next week because he's going to be your guest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does have an app. He might be sharing with you his app.
I'm so glad my location is not on here. I just didn't even think about that. But okay, so to give context for those who don't know what I'm talking about, where the hell is the top of the Earth? Okay, so Hyperborea is allegedly, like, this map that we're about to look at is in this area here, which is at the very top, which would be in the center of the flat Earth map as well, which but also at the top of the world. There's a lot of parallels to this being the Garden of Eden, as described in the Bible, because there's a whole bunch of things. But in the center, there's a magnetic mountain, which is black, and there's an obelisk or some sort of structure that gives off some vibration, according to some of the myths. So that one, I kind of wanted to show that to give context to that thought that maybe that's not the Atlantic Ocean, but something along those lines, or other things there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting when you just showed that map there. I don't know, the idea in the center came the tree of life for me.
Mm-hmm. Wild Dreams with Jimbo says, have you changed color in back? No, I haven't. So I could alter the image. I kind of set some rules for myself when working with this, that if the color was meant to be transparent, it would have been transparent. When I created this object, it was like a trance-like experience for me, and I don't really recall having any creative thought. Just started it and then ended it. So I kind of leave it at that, as everything was in its place as it needed to be. But then as I started to dissect it and learn new things, I got introduced to a lot of things I didn't know before prior to having this. So now I'm that's why I always thinking it was a message to kind of help this primitive brain of mine to understand consciousness and understand multiple dimensions. And to be completely honest, this helped me get it. For some reason, as complicated as this looks, for me, it helped me understand what everyone else has been telling me that you guys already understand. With Arcturians, which is interesting too, from what I understand with Arcturians, is they're the builders, and I think it's the Mu. I have to check with Priscilla; she'll know this better than I do, or it might even be the Orions, which are the opposing. Can't remember.
What are you trying to get at? Opposing of what? Like Arcturians and Orions are opposing forces? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, according to, like, it depends on what theory we're in. This is all theory and all lore and stuff. Like which is real? Who knows, right? It's just in order to solve the riddle, you have to assume that some of it's true or parts of it are true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Mystic Martian's deck says about Arcturians.
Okay.
In here.
So Jacqueline says Indigo Angel on YouTube talks about this stuff. Awesome. You should show them this map, see what they say. Wild Dreams with Jimbo says, what's more scary? They know where you are. Yeah, that's true. All right.
What's more scary? They know where you are?
Well, that could have been referring to when I said my location.
Oh,
my location didn't show up there. Okay, if anybody else has any questions about the map or anything else in for the good of the order, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to know what the deck says about Arcturians?
Yeah, okay.
All right, so Mystic Martians. This is an Oracle deck.
Well, so,
shoot, I'm trying. It's shiny. So it's called Mystic Martians. All right, it's an Oracle deck made by Lisa Porter. And it says, the Arcturians are from the Boots constellation, 36.7 light years away. Very specific stuff in this. They are a fifth and higher dimensional civilization and are the most advanced ETs of our Milky Way galaxy. Arcturians are non-polarized and anchor in conscious awareness of radiant love and healing compassion. Arcturians find third dimensional space and time a harsh space to experience. However, they have the capacity to exchange lower third dimensional frequencies by alchemically transmuting them into higher frequencies for a period of time. Arcturians operate within the advanced violet bandwidth of frequencies, which assists them to remain peaceful and connected to all. Without this love frequency, it is not possible to enter fifth dimensional portals. They are gentle, private, and quiet race overall, and are amazing time travelers of the universe, with the finest starships and state-of-the-art crystal-driven technologies. They do not use primitive computer-generated technology. They operate and navigate their ships purely through auras and consciousness energy. Arcturians vary in size, some tall, others very small. Their skin colors vary from a range of blue tones to green. They have profound telekinesis and no sicknesses at all. Arcturians have extensive wisdom and cosmic knowledge. The Arcturians are historically responsible for assisting the Pleiadians into ascended awareness during their collective consciousness shifts. The crop circles elaborate sacred geometry designs are usually the work of Arcturians' frequency technology. Arcturians choose to terminate their physical life through agreed contracts for the highest development of their advanced species well-being at around the age of 400 Earth years. That's what it says.
Interesting. I didn't realize it was that long, but I was going to ask you if it says anything about the Orions. You want to read?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just still learning this deck, to be honest. I think there's the small grays. Let's see here.
Well, I do have something I pulled up too, so I can read off of that instead.
Okay.
Because since it's like real time, trying to like make sense of it. So this was just a quick Google search, but it says 25 starseed types. Which star system is your soul really from? Whether we fact check that or not, I don't have time to. But let's just assume, for investigative purposes, that the information we have is true. So what do they say about Orions? Let me look here.
Yeah, because in this book it says the grays are from the Orion constellation, the short grays, the Zeta and Zeta Reticulum. So that's why I thought of them when you said that. Same with the tall grays, they're from the Orion constellation.
I don't know if it's Orion. Okay. Are the complete opposite of Andromedans. They are the type of being that requires hard proof before they freely accept a belief. Well, that sounds like me.